So I'd like to show you about 20 seconds from last night's video from the developers.
If it's disabled, there's no way to bring that back. When we have the proper version where your ship components are gone and utilising the physicalised damage, you can bring that ship back. And that's the huge difference. And that opens up this entire gameplay loop where you have towing and repair, and maybe somebody can repair it for you. And that's what, they've opened a nearby shop, so they're a repair shop and they give you good chances to repair versus cheaper prices than taking it to an LZ or a space station. So I think when we talk about progression,
combat, I'm really excited about it opening up, like you said, repair, refueling, rearming, all these things.
Absolutely.
It's like your ship hull is still there. Even passenger transport, like, hey, I need to get back to my ship, but maybe it's still in a conflict zone and everything, so I need help to get back. There's so many opportunities that increasing the lifespan of these ships gives to the game.
And just to be clear as well on that.
So in theory, what they explained, that sounds great. However, that would never work unless the developers create a system where players can continue playing exactly where they left off, and no matter how they disconnected from the game. So that means, let's say you press Alt F4 to disconnect from the game, and no matter where you are, whether you're 10 meters from your ship in the snowstorm, floating in space next to a space rack, or somewhere in the landing zone, the game should reconnect you to the exact point where you lost connection. With some small exceptions, like for example, if you're in a hangar that's not your own hangar or some type of instanced hangar, then the game could revert your position to an elevator in front of it. Because only then you could have gameplay systems where players can get into situations where all these support gameplay roles actually matter. Because let's say you have a firefight in space. Your ship gets badly destroyed, the attacker moves away, and you're currently floating in a dead ship. And now you have exciting survival gameplay in theory, where you collect your resources. Perhaps you send out a beacon for somebody to get you out of the ship, and then you perhaps spend 10 or 20 minutes trying to get somebody to get to you, but no player shows up. Now, if you could log out exactly where you were, and then you would reconnect, then you would still be at that space rack, or perhaps only just in space with a degraded space rack, and you would be able to continue that survival gameplay, the next gameplay session, seamlessly from the previous one. And if you still want to give up, you can still hold backspace, give up, but it's going to cost you something. But the way the game is set up currently, let's say you have 2 hours of time to play in the evening, and you didn't log out in a space station. Then you spend 10 minutes running through a landing zone, go into the hangar, point your ship nose up, turn on coupled mode, wait until it reaches out of the atmosphere, which is another 3 or 4 minutes where you can tab out and browse the internet. And so you always have this block of 5 to 15 minutes unless you bad log out on your ship. That is always the same. Which means all survival gameplay, towing gameplay, any type of complex interaction where you have to depend on other players is just a luxury item that streamers will do for staged video to make it look like it's super fun. But the normal player will never rely on it unless he can log out exactly where he was. Like, it's the least reliable thing in the entire game, anything that has to do with your ship. For example, all the gameplay features they supposedly added in the last few years, where ships can have visible where or what time. For most players, it will never matter because they probably lose a ship most of the time in some weird situation. Or they just don't have the time to bad log because they have to quickly leave the game or something. And that's why I think it's the most fundamental problem that Star Citizen has. And the problem here is, the developers are doing this theory crafting, how amazing something is going to be, but they're not talking about anything to solve the underlying problem, which is players not being able to log out exactly where they are. So that's basically the solution. The game needs exact location logout, and it has to be extremely reliable. No matter what you're playing, no matter how you're playing, no matter how you disconnect it, it has to work out of the box all the time. Because only then all the different support gameplay systems would actually be relevant enough for players so they engage in it.